All right, friends, we are back. Your favorite weekly podcast. This is Location Weekly. It's episode number 595, and we are recording on November the 15th. So, hope you're well. And It's getting colder, and the leaves are all off the trees, and all of that. Baseball season's done. But, we got another good show for you. Brianna, how you doing?
I am good. I'm great, actually. I can't believe we're almost to 600 episodes, and I can't believe it's the end of the year, gearing up for our Thanksgiving and, all the holiday stuff. It's like just comes too fast.
Yeah, it does. It does. And Yeah, I think we're going to get our first taste of just some light snow overnight tonight. And it'll be gone by, lunchtime tomorrow, but we're getting there. We're getting there. It's coming. So anyhow, yeah, so we have four stories for you this week as per usual. Some interesting things. One to kick it off, Brianna's going to start us off with a local one for her. So let's do that.
All right. Well, from now throughout December, if you are in the New York area, you can check out this really unique and engaging art exhibit. So this is at the Bone Playground in Flushing, Queens, and also at Columbus Park in Manhattan. So, if you're in the city, go head over to Columbus Park, such a great area. You can find these banners that have these large Chinese red knots, which is like a hallmark of their cultural and there's different cultural districts that they're situated in. And so at the center of each of these posters, they have these really beautiful scenes that mix kind of these contemporary and traditional symbolism and the storytelling. And what's even cooler about it is you can really bring these posters to life. So there's a QR code at the bottom of the banner. And so if you scan it, the posters actually began to animate and really show these like kind of new takes on traditional stories. And the goal is really to just invite these residents and surrounding, neighborhoods or people who are passing by, tourists, to engage with Chinese heritage and, see these immigrant narratives that they have and these like new modern interpretations of this folklore. So the series is called The Red String, and the artist combo is called Lily and Hong Lee. And it's in support of More Art, which is a nonprofit. And their mission is like producing these socially engaging public art exhibits here in New York City. So I think part of this is like hopeful that this type of engagement and education and just learning about a new culture perhaps could dispel some of the recent rise in these hate crimes that we've seen in the AAPI community, specifically here in New York. And I think this is really beautiful. I love that it's just art. I was in Morningside Heights, like I was in Harlem, a couple weekends ago with my kids, and they had all these beautiful like art posters, and we were able to walk around. And there wasn't necessarily a QR code or a way of engagement, but it's just nice to have that outside and be able to, be in nature, but also be engaging. And it was a beautiful exhibit of people of Harlem and different neighborhoods, people who grew up there. And I love that this is something similar, right? So it's in areas that there is a Chinatown, if you will, and it's definitely got a lot of culture and bringing all of those things together into life. I love the technology play of it as well. So it's definitely something I want to check out. It's called The Red String again. So if you are in those areas, let us know how you enjoy it. And I might try to get over there, one weekend up here in December. But yeah, I think it's beautiful. Thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I love these kinds of things, especially when it's about kind of taking beauty and art and culture, to the streets, right? It's not, sort of locked up in a museum or gallery that you have to, go and visit, or, in some cases buy a ticket to. Like, it's free, right? You just hang out in the park and you see these beautiful red knot banners, you scan the QR code, and then it's a great use case of augmented reality technology, which we've been talking about a lot here. But I like that it's just it's just there at a street level. I think the one thing, just to sort of add, to this, I think that it would be great if they had a way that once you sort of interacted with it and you visualized it from an AR point of view, that you could kind of share it on your social media or try to, sort of draw more people to it, and amplify it a little bit that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about this. I think it's always great when you can, bring art to the streets. If you remember, there was years ago, also in New York. I can't remember the name of the project now, and I have a video of it somewhere. I'll try and dig it up, but somebody had created these sort of location-based sort of rap songs that were visualized on streets, based on neighborhoods in New York, and things like this. So same kind of concept, but audio, as opposed to, visual like this. And I think all of those things are great ways just to show that, these neighborhoods are alive, they're vibrant, there's a lot going on in them. And, they're not just, sort of bad areas that we should avoid. There's beauty everywhere, and sort of exposing it in this way, I think is super interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. On to our second story. So kind of coming back to sort of tech now. DoorDash, who has been on a flurry of partnership deals lately, has announced another new partnership with Wing, which is Google's drone delivery arm, part of the Alphabet group of companies. And so in Australia, they're testing, delivery via drone for DoorDash. So in parts of Queensland, Australia, is where they're kind of starting this. I know that I saw a video of it this week on the news where it's the first delivery happened. And I think it's interesting. I mean, we obviously these technologies, drone technologies, have been around for a while. And there are other sort of types of automated delivery that we've seen out there, be it robots or other kinds of things rolling around on streets or things like this. And I think one of the challenges with drone delivery has always been, what can the drone carry? What type of good or item does it work for versus others that it doesn't. And I think because historically, it has to be something relatively sturdy. You're not going to, carry a, necessarily like a beverage or something like that, easily, or, something that, doesn't have any rigidity to it, or isn't in a box that, can really protect it well. So, some foods are too delicate for that. But I think it's interesting. And so, sandwiches or wings or, things like that, I think, could be interesting. And we'll see, right? I mean, I think it's one of those things, especially in dense urban markets, where there's, a lot of traffic, and, we're seeing more and more, at least in my neighborhood, we're seeing a lot. Like, we have so many guys doing DoorDash or other similar services, riding around on e-bikes and getting hit every day, by cars. It's, I think something like this could be a good alternative, right? So, whether it's scalable, and what that looks like, and the costs with, of drones versus, people, riding bicycles or other things, doing deliveries, it is yet to be seen. But I like that they're testing this out, and experimenting with that, and kind of we'll see where it goes. Any thoughts from you?
No, I mean, we've seen this before, right? We've seen a lot of these tests happening, and I think that's the right place that we're supposed to be right now, right? We're testing, we're seeing what sticks, what will work. And if I can get, delivery French fries that aren't soggy, I am all for it. So
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think that, there's a lot of things that we can do when it comes to like food delivery, getting it fresher. And so perhaps this is something that will work. I mean, I'm still very keen on the idea for drones for like medical purposes, delivering medicine or just things that you might need really quickly. I think also in like for humanitarian aid, getting places that maybe cars cannot get very easily. There's great applications there. So I think we're just still in that phase where we're testing a lot of different things and seeing what will stick, what will work, and what areas it will apply to. So
Yeah, and I think, on that front, whether it's medicine or getting humanitarian aid, like we've talked on the show a lot before about companies like What Three Words, and sort of new addressing systems like that, where there's maybe not a physical building with a normal postal code or zip code, and having a drone be able to drop something into a makeshift property, let's say, or something like that, or a bush camp, or whatever in the middle of Africa or whatever, I think is interesting, right? And I think that's where I see huge potential, like you say. And yeah, I mean, but we all want our McDonald's fries, fresh and hot, don't we? All right.
well, how would you like to go shopping without having to actually write a list down or have it on your phone and just be able to see it while you're walking through the grocery store? Well, this is exactly what a tech company called, I'm assuming they pronounce it Mojo Vision, even though, as a Latina and Cuban woman, I would say Mojo Vision, but I don't think we're talking about the really delicious, garlic and sour orange juice sauce here. So Mojo Vision, and they've developed this capability now where they can actually add Alexa shopping lists to smart contact lenses. So this is pretty insane. Like, this is one of those out there stories. And, I think further than we've gone before, we've seen like the glasses with Snap, and others like with those, with AR lenses and everything, whenever you're putting that on your face. But this is like a whole nother thing, putting something in your eye as a contact lens, and it has this unique eye-based interface. So according to Mojo Vision, there was a recent test, and it was the first major third-party consumer application on a smart contact lens. So this application basically combines eyes up technology and voice AI, so that, I can ask the woman whose name I cannot say to add something to a shopping list. And then it could be before the grocery trip, while I'm actually, in real time. And then I can access the list with like my frame of vision while I'm walking down the aisle and check off items. I did not go into detail on how you would actually check the items off, but checking those items off while you put them in the cart. So obviously it's hands-free, it's automatic. There's years of research that have gone into this, a lot of patents, that have led to these prototype lenses, and really the lenses like overlaying images, symbols, and text onto users' natural field of vision, so without obstructing their view or inhibiting social interaction. I mean, I think this is super cool. I'm not saying I would use it. I also have concerns about, Alexa interaction or interface or anything in my eye, right? Amazon having access to my visual data would concern me. And I'm not saying they do, I have no idea. But, to me, I think this is really interesting, just like the hands-free idea. And we think of I always think of like this is outdated now almost, but like the heads up display when you were driving, right? And it would tell you how your speed or anything else. And it was nice. Like, it's nice that you don't have to necessarily look somewhere else, and it's right there while you're driving. You're not taking your eyes off the road. So I think there's something to this. And, it just makes me think like very much Minority Report, seeing things kind of going through, like what you're seeing maybe is not the same thing that your neighbor is seeing. And so I don't know, I'm intrigued by it, but I wonder if there would be mass adoption or use for it. But again, I do feel like there's great applications for this. Think of, I'm a resident in training and I'm doing surgery, or I'm in the operating room, or, perhaps I'm like, trying to fix a car. I think that there's great application for this, and not having to keep looking down at a screen or something like that. So very interesting. Maybe better applications than grocery lists. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So before I get to that, I mean, first of all, I think this is amazing technology and, a great achievement in terms of, advancing tech around this. And, I concur with you. I mean, in my car, I have heads-up display. I use it all the time. Like if I've got Google Maps running in my car, I'm using directions. It's coming up in my heads-up, turn right now and do this, whatever, all of that. And it's great to just be able to look forward and not have to look down or look elsewhere to see that. So that's that idea of kind of in your vision, instructions or information. I think I'm fully bought into. As somebody who wears contacts every day, I guess my first question is that, is this, prescription, lens available? Or is it limited to just like, for people with normal vision, you kind of have to, you just pop these in and you can see these kinds of things. So, I would certainly love to test it out and play around with it, and see kind of what can be done with this. So when it comes to the specific application of shopping lists, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that that's the number one application for it. I think it's interesting. It's cool. I'd certainly try it. When I go to the store and I do make lists on my phone and check things off. So I am that user. So I'm intrigued to kind of see how it works, and certainly would be willing to give it a go. I'm with you. I think there are many other great applications for this, the medical side of things, and lots of other scenarios I can see as well. Even and then there's a lot of potential, I think, for misuse of this too. Like I was in a conversation the other night with some university professors, and they were talking about the like how much cheating is going on right now on tests and exams. And like, can you imagine popping these in with a whole bunch of information in your vision, math problems, and equations and other things that you could just have in there.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. So I think there's a huge potential for this. And from a tech point of view, I'm all in. I think this is a great advancement. And I think the application they described with Amazon and Alexa, I think is interesting. I would love to try it. So yeah, if you're listening, send me a pair. I'll pop it in. I'll give you a go and let you know what I think. But it's yeah, I think there's a lot of applications for this. So we'll see where it plays out.
Yeah, one to watch for sure.
Yeah. All right. On to our final story now. So jumping back into the retail world, Ralph Lauren, who we haven't talked about for a while, has teamed up with Epic Games. And they are working on a Fortnite experience. And so they are creating a first for the retailer, a digital collection of apparel and accessories for Fortnite. All with the Ralph Lauren, sort of branding and all that comes with that. This is being launched. It's already launched now as of November the 2nd. And it's kind of interesting. So it's a collection inspired by what they call their Stadium collection and their Polo Sport line from back in the 90s. Yeah, you can shop the collection, dress your avatars in Fortnite in Ralph Lauren, Polo Sport outfits and things like this. They've redesigned their iconic Polo pony for the first time in history for this partnership with Epic. They're promoting this on a live stream which happened last week on Twitch. Yeah, and they're hosting sort of this tournament in Fortnite as well, which the first luxury brand to do that. So I think it's interesting. We've talked a lot about brands jumping into the metaverse and sort of opening up virtual environments and stores, and Walmart jumping in there with their experiences on Roblox and others playing around with different things. What I like about this story though is while they're doing all this in sort of that in the digital realm, at the same time they're also sort of mirroring this with a physical version of the same sort of capsule. So which is also available in kind of the real world. So I like that. I like that they're kind of, saying, hey, look, we're trying to drive this, engagement in the virtual world in Fortnite, but we're tying it back to, the physical Ralph Lauren stores and what can be done there. So I think that's super interesting. I think the other thing that, sort of appeals to me about this is that, or maybe not appeals to me, but it is fascinating, is that the sort of collection and the sort of inspiration for this is coming from their 1990s Polo Sport line, which, I sit there and I go, most of the research I've seen so far of people who are in Fortnite or using Roblox or engaged in metaverse interactions are, much younger than you and I, for the most part. And so I'm wondering about sort of the, going back in time to a 90s inspirational sort of usage here. But at the same time, when you look at fashion today, I don't know if, where you're at on that, but a lot of the current fashion is drawing from that era, right? Or even earlier, like, we're back to wide bottom pants, and we're back to like all these, things that, I thought were long gone and forgotten, but that's where we're at now. So I think it's interesting that they're kind of taking cues from their fashion world and the current fashion trends, and then also tying it back to, their history and success, with these lines back in the 90s, and trying to bring that to a new audience in a digital world. So I really like that, that they're kind of taking that step. Any thoughts from you?
No, I mean, I agree with your sentiments. I think that the highlights that you mentioned, how they're reflecting it in both the digital world and the physical world, is definitely a pro. And I would say, I had a colleague who told me about her son, who maybe is 12. He and his friends for Halloween dressed as the 92 Olympic Dream Team. So, maybe the 90s are like something that these kids are into, and and they're ready, but I think all the fashion trends are back, whether it's, 90s, 70s, whatever it may be. You can kind of just go your own way these days. Yeah. So I think it's cool. I mean, I'm just like excited to see how this evolves over the next 5 years, and how we're shopping in 5 years. And, is it through this metaverse, and what does that look like? But, it's also interesting because at the same time that we keep seeing investments, we're seeing like layoffs, and we're seeing companies getting rid of a lot of people that you would think would be like investing in more as this grows. But that's another conversation for another time. So staying tuned to see, like, am I going to be shopping in the metaverse?
Where are you at, Brianna? Are you still wearing skinny jeans, or are you going to the wide bottom pants now? Come on.
Oh, it changes every day. That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, like, to see all this stuff. And then, like, I was in a store recently, a men's clothing store, and like all the shirts and sweaters were like knit, like wool, like this, that. And I'm like, wow, this is like super 70s. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, interesting. Very interesting.
Anyway. Yeah. I mean, you walk through Target, and honestly, you could go through like every decade there and find something that fits that style. Yeah. So
yeah. So
maybe that's going to be reflected as well. We'll see.
Well, that's our show for this week. You've been listening to episode 595 of Location Weekly. We're here for you every week. We're bringing you the latest on location tech, on fashion, on, what pants to wear, everything. This is what we do here at the LBMA and on Location Weekly. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Tune in next week for another show. If you have story ideas, feedback, reach out to us. If you're in New York, go try out the Red String Project. Let us know what you think about that. If you're in Australia, order up a drone delivery by Wing and DoorDash, and tell us about that too. And we'd love to hear about it. So thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.